Hi Shell.
And hello to all you other wonderful weirdos watching.
So, we're back with Night Shift again. I forgot to take those off. So, this week I read The Ledge, which is not a horror, but more of a mob boss. A mob boss is having a conversation with the guy who has been having an affair with his wife. And so we've got... So Kressner is just like, let's have a wager, Mr. Norris. He's basically set the guy up. So Mr. Norris is literally having to outdo the mob boss. He's just a tennis player who's basically fallen in love with this mob boss's wife when she came to play tennis a few times. And so yeah, after a while in this conversation, he's just noticing that there's something off with the balcony door and a little bit wrong with the balcony itself, like something's up with that. And he knows that from planning their getaway with Marcia, the wife. She's just like telling him he's gonna play you and he's gonna hit in all the directions, just how to go about this conversation. And they've tried to sneak Garcia out by trying to lose the people following her at the airport and swinging around to go at the bus stop instead, and just doing a whole switcheroo in like the public toilet. So at least Marcia is safe, but we've got this conversation happening between the mob boss and Mr. Norris. Oh, and so the mob boss is just basically that, right, we've hotwired your car and it's in a public car park. So we've hid drugs in the tyre of your car. At 8:20, Tony is going to phone up the police about that car. So he's got 15 minutes to decide whether or not he's going to take him up on the wager. And it's just this little back and forth between them. And then, so the wager is go out on the ledge, walk around the building along this ledge, and if you make it back, you get the 20,000 that's in this bag, your freedom, and Marcia. But yeah, so he takes him out onto the balcony and he says, I've been out on there myself. I've offered other people this several times and they've backed out and worked for me for 6 months. However, Mr. Norris has a particular other problem that he's got. The drug sentence is about 40 years in prison. So he's either got 40 years in prison, walk out onto the ledge and either die or earn his dream of running off with Marcia. And oh boy, it's a 5-inch ledge. Kressner has measured it himself. Do you know how big 5 inches of ledge is? It's this freaking much of ledge, and they are high up, like 400 feet. They are the tallest building. There is no like other tall buildings to like act as a windbreak. I would take the 40 years in prison. I don't care how bad American prisons are. That is not happening. Oh boy. And probably the only time I'll ever bring out a measuring tape for reading, but so yeah, this is just 5 inches of ledge that just, yeah. It's also very cold out. Yeah. So not only does he have crosswinds that he's got to contend with on the thing, but also a particular angry pigeon, a particular angry bird. But he steadies himself. He steadies himself. He does that tennis thing where you breathe and you go into some kind of self-hypnosis type of thing. And it's just like a way to calm yourself down and then just immerse yourself in the game of tennis. Well, he does the exact same thing just before he steps out onto the ledge. And he just calms himself. He doesn't think about the money. He doesn't think about Cressina. He gives him one last thought of Marcia before he starts. He actually agrees to it because he's given no other alternative. And he's just like, yeah, this is happening. So he makes it to the first corner and he's trying to wait for this crosswind to die down. And he's just like, this isn't going to die down completely. So he's just got to like try and steady himself all the way around this corner. And oof. When he does finally get a steady fix around that corner, there's this massive sound that throws him off balance. And he looks up after he steadies himself to see Cressina out his bedroom window with a noisemaker rattling it round. Just keeping you on your toes, Mr. Norris. Oh boy. He's so sadistic. He's such a... Oh, he's such a little bastard. Oh boy. But he just goes on. Eventually he gets around the other corner a bit easier than the last corner, but he's now faced with a pigeon who he thought he just gets bit, but no, he gets pecked and pecked by his ankles. Oof. This bird is just protecting his nest because above him is this little chirping sound, and even the mother bird is trying to like peck at his face, but he's a bit too high up for that. But so he's only got to contend with the ankle pecker. And eventually he makes it to the other balcony that's on the other side of the building to where he started. And so he's just grabbing hold of the bars on that and then just kicks that pigeon, because that pigeon just does not give up pecking him. And it's just quite funny of a moment because it's just like, this bird has not given up and he's bleeding him in his ankle. And there's that line going, oh, this bird could probably be pecking me and eating me if for all I know, because he can't actually look and like gently kick very well, because if he does, he will lose his balance and die. Oh, so just giving that bird a good wallop once he's finally safe. Oh, it's a bit funny. But he climbs over the balcony of the second balcony and just like tries not to let his joints lock up. He's just having a mini breather. The flat itself is empty and just nobody's living there, so he's at least got this like moment to breathe before continuing on. I mean, he there's that tempting feeling where he can just go into the apartment, but he doesn't want to back out. He doesn't, that'll be giving up. And so he just keeps going. He just keeps going. Just keeps sliding along this ledge. And even the pigeon decides, okay, he's a bit featherless, but he's decided to back off since Mr. Norris is going in the other direction. He's backing away. He's moving away. So the pigeon decides against continuously pecking. But the weird thing is, it's set up like he's not gonna win, because it's not something anybody can do realistically. But he does. He makes it, and he's just climbing over the edge. Oh, because he's in the home run bit, and he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna make it. But he tries not to rush at the end. He tries not to until he makes it to that balcony. He climbs over the edge, only to have a gun pressed to his temple. Yeah, Tony is now officially in the flat. So Tony's there now, brings him to his feet, and Cressina is just applauding Mr. Norris for this brilliant act of balance, I guess. And so we have a lovely little conversation with Cressina. So he just gets flung across the room as a precaution that he wasn't going to do anything. But he's earned the money because Cressina does not welsh on his wages. He does not like to go back on things, as promised. But he's a sore loser, so he gets flung across the room. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. But on his way out, Cressina calls to Mr. Norris and going, you really think that old ladies' bathroom switcheroo would have worked. And Mr. Norris is just like, what's that supposed to mean? It's like, oh yeah, you've won the money, you've won your freedom, and you've won my wife. You can pick the third one up at the morgue. Holy hell. So yeah, it was very much implied that Kressner lies about a lot of things, but he doesn't go back on his bets. But yeah, that was a twist of the knife that we were expecting something to go wrong with Mr. Norris's task. Not the prize at the end. Whew. I was half expecting the police to be there, but that would also not make any sense because he is also a mob boss. The end, though, is so cool because Mr. Norris just goes straight for Tony because he's not been using his hands, which is, he's been using his ankle strength to keep him on that ledge. So he's just like gone straight for Tony, got the gun out of his hand, hit him in the face with said gun, and then points said gun to Kressner and going, right, you're going out on that ledge. If you make it round, I'll let you go. And so Kressner's just like trying to offer him more and more money, going, I'll offer you 1 million, 2 million. Oh my god, this was so good. I did enjoy this one. This was so good. Oh, this was a good one. Even when he's not doing horror, Stephen King is on point with just a little mob boss action. Brilliant. Loved it. I was half expecting the mob boss to do something halfway through besides try and knock him off balance. But no, he was true to his word all the way around. Granted, he did kind of fudge a little bit on the whether or not he knew about the fate of his wife. Yikes. But yeah, that's this week's short story. It was a good one. I feel like I'm not talking about it as much as I normally do, but honestly, it's a pretty straightforward one. There's not much horror element to it besides the horror of heights. The horror of falling, because they are so high up that if you did fall, you have enough time on the way down to know exactly what is happening and let out a very long scream on the way down. It's not actually, we don't stick around in the story to know if Kressner actually made it to the other balcony, but he was definitely going to go across, break into the other apartment, make sure that he does continue and doesn't linger for long. Just keep going and then shoot him at the end. But yeah, we don't, there is like a, was that a scream? But it's just like, we don't actually stick around in the story for long. It's just like, it's a very good, satisfying end, despite, you know, the sad ending that the guy doesn't actually get to run away with his loved one. But that's this week's short story. Have a good weekend. Bye, Shao.
And bye to all you other wonderful weirdos watching.
Would anybody risk it for a biscuit? Because I certainly wouldn't. Bye.